Back once again for the AHLPSN Season 5 playoffs, the semifinals tonight. 2 Game 7s to look at. The 9:30 game will be the Moose and the Monsters. And, of course, later on at 10:30, we will see the Crunch and the Marlies try and finish out their series. As you see, the Springfield Thunderbirds and the San Jose Barracuda are already in, waiting for these 2 games to finish up and decide who's going to be in the semifinals. Hi, everyone. TSibs with you again, and we hopefully will get joined later by a few different folks, depending on what happens in tonight's games. We'll see if Vibe shows up, if he feels good enough to want to show up tonight. But obviously a couple big games going on tonight, and GMs right now are certainly just trying to get their teams together, getting things ready for tonight's matchups. We'll head back to the playoff grid, and as you can see, again, some interesting series. If you hadn't been tuning in, Springfield knocking off Hershey, the defending Eastern Conference champs, in 4 games to 1. And so they are waiting the winner of Toronto and Syracuse. And the Barracuda have really proven that they are just a tremendous team after that comeback, being down 3-0 in their series, coming back and beating the Reign and then winning 4 more straight in this quarterfinal. So 8 in a row now for San Jose. And, of course, Cleveland and the Moose, they are matching up one more time for one more battle. We had a chance to sit down and talk to D. Herms about how things have gone so far and a little bit about tonight's game with Manitoba and his own Cleveland Monsters. D. Herms with me now on the pregame show, and boy, this series has had it all, hasn't it? It's been up and down. It's pretty much been every team taking 2 games in a row since the first game, and a real chess match between the 2 teams. Obviously, 2 solid GMs who have been doing a heck of a job trying to counteract each other. It's pretty much what you'd want to hope for in any playoff series at this point.
Absolutely. I think Freeze has done an incredible job, and my hat goes off to him. And Vibes has definitely stepped up and worked his little shrewd GM skills as well and given Freeze a little bit of a pain in the butt. So hats off to him for that.
Your lineup tonight, Days, Phillies, Gumba up front, T-Ball, Har back on defense, and Max in goal. Tell me about what the thought process was about this lineup, and what you feel like the strength of these guys is for this one.
Well, if we're going to just go position by position, I think, and this isn't to disparage anyone on our team, I think Ferdays is 100% our best left wing. Mm-hmm. He's just so great with moving the puck and finding open space. The way he can dangle and get through defenses is just astounding. I think Phillies is a quality defensive center to match up against the aggressiveness of someone like Mafia Man. And I think Gumba is a nice pick, playing over usually at left wing, now going over to right wing. I think he balances out very well with Fur. Going back to the defense, I think T-Ball is a standout defenseman. Same goes for Har or HJ, who's really stepped up when we needed him to. Coming up from the CHL has been just so great. And what can I say about Max, just besides top 3 in the league for goalies? At least you got to put him in that discussion. If I had to trust a goalie with a Game 7, I'd have to go with Max, which is why he's in the lineup tonight.
With the lineup on the other side, and you mentioned Mafia Man, certainly one guy who is, who has done pretty well this series. He is a very skilled player. Mm-hmm. He has patience. He will take his time to make a move. What do you do to counteract someone like him?
You play positional hockey, and you make sure that you just shut him down on the right side. And that's going to be a big task for HJ tonight. But I have the utmost amount of faith for the defense, HJ and T-Ball, to do so.
And you mentioned Max going tonight. Certainly, he's been solid all year long. How much, what is the confidence level in Max in a Game 7?
Oh boy, how do I quantify this? It is the guy you want on your team in a Game 7 situation. He is clutch. He is cool. He is calm. He is collected. He's a great guy. He's great in the Skype chat. He's a great team presence, and he's a better player than he is a presence, which is, I don't know how he does it. Max, I don't want to say something stupid and make a guarantee like Messier, but Max is going to play very well tonight.
And on the other side, again, these guys have been, they've been a real formidable opponent in this series. And Vibes, of course, you mentioned him. All kidding aside, he does play this like a chess game. It is a game to him. And so, what do you do? I mean, obviously the lineups are in now, but how are you guys during this time period before the lineups had to be official? What was your strategy just before putting up your lineup? What were you guys waiting for to happen? Did you think something specific was going to go on with these guys, and you had a couple of lines ready to go? What was the way to try to attack just how shifty Vibes can be with something like this?
Well, we knew the moment that he put up the lineup during the podcast last night that it was a dummy lineup and he was just doing it for the sake of having it on during the podcast. But we knew that there were certain players that we wanted. We knew there were certain players that Vibes was going to put in. We knew he was going to put in Mafia, and we had to plan strategically to counteract that. We knew we wanted Fur in because at left wing, I wouldn't rather anyone else. To be perfectly frank, it's a matter of response. Since we have home ice advantage, it's a matter of responding to Vibes' decisions, and that can be a tough thing sometimes. And there were discussions on which players were going to go in where. There were some disagreements, but ultimately we settled on the line that we have tonight, and I'm confident in it.
Finally, one way or another, this series is over tonight, and you guys have done pretty darn well up until this point, and I certainly don't want to jinx you guys, but, are you satisfied to this point right now of the way your team has played overall all season long? Is this, obviously you guys want to win the whole thing like anyone does, but are you, how do you assess your satisfaction with the team right now?
Oh, man, I don't think I can give a complete overview of the team until it is all said and done, because I think that answer will change depending on the outcome of tonight's game. But going into it, oh, man, I'm so proud of everyone, how they've stepped up, how they've exceeded everyone's expectations. I can't say enough about the group of guys and Siege that we have on our team. So I'm just so proud.
D. Herms, best of luck tonight. Thanks again for joining us, and good luck in Game 7.
Thank you for having me on, Sibs.
D. Herms on the pregame show. I assume right about now he's probably incredibly nervous, waiting for this one to start up. The teams are starting to gather a little bit here as the Cleveland Monsters are getting ready in the dressing room. Just to go over the lineups a little bit again for the Moose. Nylander, Timmy Z, and Mafia Man are in the starting front line. Pitcher Swag and Beal are back on defense, and Domi again in goal for Manitoba. For Cleveland, Furdays, Philly's great, and Gumba up front, which I think is what we've pretty much figured would happen, at least for days, and Gumba for sure, and Phillies more than likely was going to be there. T-Ball certainly back there. Har 84 as well, and Max in goal. Maximus, the goaltender tonight for Cleveland. We mentioned a little bit about Mafia Man. We saw him last night play. He is 3-1 in the playoffs this season. 7 goals, 10 assists, and a +4 in those 4 games. And so, his presence certainly is one that is going to be there, going to be fairly apparent, and will certainly be seen and felt tonight by the Cleveland Monsters, and their defense certainly is going to be be a big key in this one. Can they slow these guys down? You know what Nylander and Timmy Zeke can do. This is a pretty formidable front line to have to go up against, and I think that's going to be pretty apparent to these guys pretty soon. We'll be getting to this game shortly. Again, still waiting for everybody to show up. Most of Cleveland is in there now. Actually, everybody is in there now. So we hopefully will be seeing an invite soon, and we'll get you to that game as soon as it comes up. Right now, we're still waiting for everything to everyone to pile in here. Again, the Moose and what they've been able to do this season, considering all the almost 80 ECUs that Vibes had to use this season, and I'm sure there are a lot of teams who are damn close to that with having to fill in for games. It's certainly not a lot of fun to have to deal with something like that, but absolutely something that everyone had to deal with, and the Moose and Vibes for sure had to deal with that this season. We're going to hopefully have a couple of guys on here to help me out call the game. Ice Block is about ready to go, and Biggie's going to step in here in a second as soon as we get him on the call. Again, interesting game tonight, and one that certainly is going to be maybe one for the records. We'll see how it all works out in the end. And Biggie is with me now here as the game is about ready to get set. And Biggs, this is been a fight, a huge struggle all season long, and all series long. And these guys, have had to do an awful lot in this series just to stay with each other. Real chess match between Vibes and Freeze.
I'm surprised at the lineups always.
What part of it are you surprised about at this point?
I don't know why. I guess Freeze might have put in players that I guess did well against the Moose. I haven't looked at Goomba's or Philly's record in this series itself, but I mean, I don't know why you bench players like Derms or actually I don't remember if I said Goomba was going to play right wing.
I think there was some speculation about that one way or another, so I don't think it's that shocking, I suppose.
It's not that shocking. And then also on right D, I mean, T-Ball's been playing with Troy all season. I don't think there was an issue with that, but I don't know who this other guy is, so
we're gonna find out real soon.
Yeah, we'll find out real soon. And Vibes lineup doesn't shock me at all.
No.
Actually, it does. I was expecting CJ to be in defense, but I don't know his D that well, so.
They tried to get the game going, had a little issue getting both teams in there, so you see Cleveland is resetting and about ready to jump into a game now. Hopefully we get this one underway very soon. You see these two lineups. Obviously in a Game 7, you're going to throw all the offense you can out there. Who do you feel like has the advantage, front line-wise?
Front line, I'd say the Moose. Nylander and Go Hawk's been playing together for a while, and Mafia's Man's a guy that can probably fit in with almost any line. So I think as far as chemistry, those three are gonna flow pretty well.
Well, this game again, needing to start this one over again. Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe the Moose have a little trouble here. We'll have to find out. But nothing from Vibes on this yet. We're going to get Ice Block in here from the Springfield Thunderbirds to join us on this and talk a little bit about this game and try and get his feeling a little bit about what he's expecting coming up. Ice Block is there, buddy. How's it going tonight?
Oh, pretty good, Sibs. How about you?
Good. We've got Biggs with us as well. So, obviously, you're just watching games at this point and getting some practice in. What have you seen with this series so far? What's impressed you the most about the Moose and the Monsters?
To be honest, I've been so wrapped up in our series that this is the first chance I've been able to get to watch another team. So I'm not really surprised, expectation-wise. I could have seen it going to 7. They're both talented teams ran by talented GMs who know what they're doing. Other than that, I mean, it's just expectation was met in a Game 7, so.
This is one of these series where you say, it's obvious to throw everybody out there in a Game 7 that you feel is your best player. But we talked a little bit about this last night, Biggs, and I want to get Ice Block's feeling on this. I've seen guys do this where they'll mix and match lines, and certainly I think Vibes has done a little bit of that tonight with his front line. How do you feel about that in a Game 7? Do you feel like you do that, or do you try and keep the chemistry together and keep lines together when possible?
Personally, I would try my hardest to keep lines together because chemistry is going to win games. And that's, my personal opinion. I get where the line matching comes from and just trying to tinker with it and put a defensive center in there and 2 really good breakout wingers. I get it, but I personally would not play that. That's just too risky in my book.
I think the happy medium, though, really is, you put in your core players and then you make tiny adjustments. Like, for example, Vibes is sticking with a set of 2 forwards and adding, a power forward, like not a power forward, but just like a superstar to the line. And it just adds that little, Game 7 lineup. And you don't have to change anything else to the lineup. You just add one player sometimes and it changes. Plus, a lot of times that player has played lots of games with those other 2 forwards as well. So the chemistry is still there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, going from experience, I've never actually gone to a Game 7, so I honestly don't know where my mind would be. This is the first year in the last 4 seasons that I've personally made playoffs, so everything is still new to me, and especially on the management side. But, everything could change next round.
We've got the game coming up at 10:30. We're still waiting for this one to start up here, but the one at 10:30 is obviously more important to you and the Thunderbirds and the Crunch and the Marlies. I'm certainly not shocked that this one's going 7, but I feel like the Marlies are playing just good enough. It just seems like they are a very very talented team, and I really felt like they could take this in 5 or 6. And obviously the Crunch are a hell of a team too, but for whatever reason, either the Crunch have found some key things here and there to exploit, but more importantly, or more in my opinion, I kind of feel like the Marlies have not really played, their full game or up to their full potential yet.
I could agree. Tonight too, you look at the lineup for tonight, I think that's going to lean more towards Toronto. Biggest thing, Tenure not being in there. Where's that?
Huge mistake. It's because he lost 2 games this series, and I guess, you go with your gut and put in, your solid lefty, but I don't care what anyone says. Anyone could lose 2 games in a series. A top player is still a top player.
Right.
Well, and I think he's had some. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's had some availability issues in the playoffs so far. I want to say in this last series there was a game where we all thought he was going to be in there, and then it was an availability issue that time. So I don't know. I mean, maybe that's the case, or maybe it is what you're saying, but I don't know. I mean, that's kind of tough to pull somebody who might be a little cold at this point in the playoffs. So, you get past this, then what do you expect out of that guy?
Yeah. I mean, game of risk, with that. But I was able to talk to Tenya earlier, and he was available. So it's just that was kind of a management thing, and whatever they were comfortable with up front. So
it looks like we finally are going to get these two teams together to line up here and play this one finally. T-Ball providing us the feed for tonight's game. As we mentioned, it's Go Hawks and Nylander and Mafia Man in there. So those two guys together with Mafia, boy, that's that's an explosive combination for many reasons. I'm hoping these guys, if they wind up having a little issue early on, they don't lose their cool, because this could really be an explosive line, and they could explode on each other if it goes south early.
Just to add real quick, I just asked Henry myself, and Iceblock said he's pretty bummed out he's on a Game 7. He's available, and it's kind of stupid.
Now, right away, we see the Moose getting an opportunity. Things a little slow starting off here, but on an offside play, almost springing out there. Nylander, but not able to stay onside. And now again, the Moose starting out. Always a little tight when these games start. It certainly is. Even though you've been practicing for a couple of games before this, typically, you still feel a little tight when you start up a Game 7. Cleveland finally getting into the offensive zone. Now, opportunity in front as a good poke check on that play. Made by Beal, and so the Moose able to get it out. Quickly coming back was T-Ball on that one, but a pass in front. Now a deflection off a pass. Now Nylander gets it deep to Go Hawks. Back to Nylander, no good. Broken up, and now the Monsters trying to get out, but again, play broken up. Nylander over to the other side for Mafia, but could not get a good shot off. Another good couple of saves there by Maximus. And you got to believe that you know what this game is. You know what Mafia is going to do. He's going to set up. He's going to wait for that pass.
Yeah, for the week,
Go ahead, Biggs.
I was just saying the Moose look a lot more steady on offense than right now. That goes to show that core right there.
And right quickly, scoring opening up here halfway through. Go Hawks gets the first goal from Nylander. And the Moose draw first blood. Very aggressive line, too. I mean, you're going to see these three guys, Mafia, Go Hawks, and Nylander. They are constantly going to be heading to the net. They do not mess around. Good break up there by Mafia. Pass in front for him is broken up. Cleveland just having trouble trying to get control of the puck. They finally get it out. One thing Mafia I do like about his game is that, defensively he does a good job because he anticipates passes well. You just saw that.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to get the bidding win on him. At the start of the season, kind of sucks it didn't work out going forward. But watching him for 2 weeks and having the opportunity to play with him, he's a very big grinder with silky mitts.
He's not ashamed to be a leader out there either.
he goes again.
Very aggressive front line. Good poke check there by Harn. Back the other way, Cleveland. They really have not had a good opportunity offensively. It's been all the Moose. Getting slow to break the puck out. Finally gets it back on the right wing. Gumba tries to send it in. Comes around. Furdays trying to get control of it. Can't. Picked up by Phillies. Tries to snap one off, but it's partially blocked by Nylander. Back to the point. A couple of whiffs. Now a 3-on-1, 3-on-2. Good opportunity there, but good defense as Mafia could not get a good shot off. There in front, good play. As GoHawks had an opportunity, and so did Nylander. Lots of work in front for Maximus, and he'll hold on as we get down to the final minute here in the first period. And Moose up 1-0, but they have absolutely dominated the play offensively. Boy, you see the forechecking here. It's just relentless by the Moose. Another opportunity in front, blocked away. The defense of T-Ball and Har 84 have been a big reason why it's only 1-0 in this one. 9 shots on goal so far for the Moose. 1 for Cleveland. 2 minutes more time on attack. That says it right there. Total domination in the first by Manitoba. And the forechecking right now, guys, just really, they are standing them up almost at the red line. You almost feel like maybe they need to cut through, maybe dump some in, try and get their guys, the opposing team, to drop back a little bit, something.
To me, it seems
The Moose?
like
Go ahead,
Cleveland's
Biggs.
struggling getting out of the zone on the right side. I think T-Ball's done well, but I've seen multiple times now that the Moose have really stopped the breakout on that right side.
Gumba throws one in. Phillies has it. In front, and a beautiful play. He found Gumba on the right side. He's able to put that one home and tie it up. Another good pass in front. Mafia controlling. He gets tripped. The penalty's going to get called on this one, and the Moose will go on a power play for the first time. Another trip. Oof. 5-on-3, minute and a half of a 5-on-3. They've been dominating on offense already. Cleveland's going to need a lot of work to kill this off. And Biggs, how do you handle a 5-on-3 with this kind of front line that you're dealing with here?
You can't let them set up. That's really your only chance. And if they do, all you can do is tight triangle. Bounces go your way. They're playing this pretty decently right now.
Ooh, crossbar shot.
T-Ball with the first save there, but they're just not. T-Ball trying to stay to the left of Max to try and take away the cross crease, but just again, too much, too soon, too many passes, and GoHawks with his second goal has put them ahead now 2-1. Good pass by Mafia. He waited nicely. Plenty of traffic in front, but that pass had seeing eyes. It made it through.
It's a bit of a lucky pass, but I mean, not as many bodies in front that you're used to, so something's going to go through eventually.
A little over 5 minutes play. We had a tie game until just moments ago. It's a one-goal contest. Fired away.
Now Cleveland dump it down, coming back out with it. Now the Moose, at least only giving up 1 goal during that 5-on-3 in double penalties, but that could be a big harbinger of what might happen to them tonight. They may look back on that one ice and say, yeah, you know, we can't be taking penalties like that.
No, not at all. And you look at Manitoba right now too, and they're very patient and calm.
Mafia just again, he's been in the middle, just been intercepting everything. Another
And
good
that,
pass.
you know, those passes right back and forth are going to set you up and open up that area.
So far, it's really been almost all Manitoba for one good opportunity for Cleveland. Get into the zone, but they still can't maneuver. And again, man, I kind of think you have to try a few different things. Get it mixed up so at least they're not figuring out what you're going to do every time.
The biggest thing, too, is passing.
Go ahead, Biggs.
Yeah. I was going to say they're struggling getting in the zone, too, because Manitoba's setting up the trap, and there's really only 2 really effective plays against it.
The green, come on.
As both of them run from the defense, and the defense is just trying to give the forward the puck, and the puck has to do so much more work. Or sorry, the forwards have to do so much more work to get past that trap.
Well past the halfway mark in this one with Manitoba still up 2-1. It's gotten a little bit tighter, but still Manitoba controlling for the most part. Cleveland trying to clog up the middle a little bit now. Onside play. And Domi does not bite on that backhand.
He didn't even hug the post.
A great dump right there just to get it out of traffic and get it away from the net.
Now Cleveland gets their chance on the power play. Good shot, good opportunity there, but just going wide. Gumba looking for an opportunity. Good kick saved by Domi. Phillies tries to get it in front. Puck is loose. A couple of players down from Manitoba, but a good poke check there by Nylander breaks it up. Now picked up again. Good save. Philly's able to get off a shot after a nice pass from Ferdes, but good save there by Domi to lock it up. Now this is the last few seconds of this power play for Cleveland. Not able to capitalize on it. 3 minutes left to go in the second, and again, still 2-1 Manitoba. Icing, and Cleveland will have an opportunity to maybe get a shot or two off here. T-ball. Ferdes gets a shot on. T-ball now trying to set up again. Back in his zone. Gumba. Minute left to go in the second. Well, the wrister on net. A little tricky, but Domi able to push it aside.
And he carries it up the wing. Shoots. That one blocked.
Good quick shot. Trying to get something going in the last couple of seconds. 2 periods are over now. Still a 2-1 lead, but Cleveland certainly playing a little better in that, getting an opportunity and slowing down Manitoba a little bit. I mean, I think that's the one difference I've seen. Not a ton just yet. Still plenty of good opportunities for the Moose, but it definitely seemed like they have definitely seems like they've slowed them down a little bit.
How much time do I have left?
Take a look at the shots on goal here. If we get a look at them, we may not. T-ball looking at his coach feedback. Apparently that's important. But they're doing a lot of talking, obviously, in the party. So they are looking to try and figure out, I think, what they're going to do here. But I tell you what Cleveland has done. I've seen a few of their games. They are very good at adjusting in-game. And they've got one more period to try and keep up with this one. 2-1. Manitoba ahead, and they start the third period. And again, right away, Manitoba offensively. Oof. And Mafia walking right in, and that it almost always leads to a goal, but good play by Max to stick it off him.
The Monsters with a face-off win. Now it's directed to Reed.
I think really all Manitoba really needs to do at this point is just keep up the pace. They keep on firing it at these guys. They got this game in the bag.
I think it's key too that they keep the offensive up. I don't think they're the kind of team that can win by turtling.
Oof. And there's an opportunity that came off a dump in the zone and a good pass out front, but Domi there for the save. So obviously they've decided to try a little something different.
Oof.
That could have been
almost a lethal turnover.
almost a full breakaway on that one, but Cleveland now trying to do something again. Good pass by Ferdes to Phillies. Now tries to get it across to Gumba. He intercepts. Now Phillies trying to get it back to Har, but can't get a shot. Intercepted, and Cleveland starts back. So far it's been their period. Good quick wrist shot just to get something on net. Those are the two keys we talked about. Passing, getting it deep in the zone, and actually the third one, getting shots on net.
Looks like they're getting a little more impatient.
They do look panicky back there.
Mm-hmm.
Now they are trying a little bit of a trap. As you saw, they dumped it in. Everybody came back behind the blue line and looking to intercept the pass out. It seemed to work a little bit as they get sort of an opportunity in front, but Domi holds.
Yep.
Almost halfway through this period, and quickly time is running out for Cleveland.
Cleveland might have just shot themselves in the foot right there.
Yeah, penalty up against the boards, getting a tripping call, and now they need to kill this off and come away, still only down by one.
Good patient hold on the boards.
And you see T-Ball trying to decide whether to hit the net or keep an eye on Mafia, and doing both of that. So he's able to clear it out. Keep an eye to the left of your screen. You're gonna see Mafia set up. Now Cleveland the other way on the penalty kill, able to drive it in. Moose have 30 seconds left to go on the power play here. Mafia tries to get in front. Good block by T-Ball. Has done a pretty darn good job against Mafia today. Good quick shot goes wide. Teams are even now. Mafia looking to find some opening, and both defensemen stare him down, and he gets poked off his stick, and now Cleveland the other way. Now Mafia driving in. Nobody in front, taking his time. Can't quite hit him off the puck, and he still holds on to it. Go Hawks trying to get in front, and to no avail. Now starting back out is Gumba. Pass in front, just not able to connect, and now back the other way. Quickly with 4 minutes left to go.
Ooh.
Oh, and there, just a poke check. Now they're going to call that one, I guess that was called a goal, right?
Yeah,
just a poke check basically on that play, and I think we're going to get a chance to see this as, basically just a poke check, putting it right by him. That is heartbreaking, but a hell of a play by Mafia to be there. He's been doing that all game, guys. He's been right there waiting for the breakout pass, and again, right there, poking it home.
It's too bad, too, because T-Ball's been playing a really good game against Mafia. He gets punished with that.
Incredibly aggressive play. Up by one and still heading that deep into the zone to forecheck pays off. 2.5 left to go. Cleveland trying desperately to get one back right away. Phillies was set up in front, but Ferdays could not get it to him. And now back the other way. The Moose, as they head back in their own zone. Flipped back into the monster zone as we hit the 1 minute mark remaining in the third period. Cleveland, incredibly desperate at this point, are now offside on this play. Cleveland. Phillies flips it in. Puck is knocked out of the zone, and again, good defensive play. Pass in front, and that just sealed it right there. The hat trick for Go Hawks in this one. And this line absolutely has been able to do what they needed to do tonight. Go Hawks, Mafia, and Nylander have played spectacularly, not just with the offensive output, but with how they've come back and forechecked and played defensively to help out their team. Heck of a game by the Moose. 17 seconds away from heading on to the semis, and they have a 2-on-1 now. Just about a breakaway. Good play to break that up by Har. Cleveland flips it out. 3 seconds, and this game is just about over, and the Manitoba Moose will be moving forward. A hell of a game by them. A total effort. No weakness in this one at all for Manitoba. One play that beat them the whole game, and they played a complete game, Biggs. I don't see any flaw with how they played this game with this group of players.
I agree. I think they did play very solid. I think a team that can adjust to their defensive style will compete better with them. Offensively, they were the powerhouse tonight, and the Cleveland couldn't find the hole in their defense, and it showed.
Ice, how impressed are you with what you saw from Manitoba tonight?
I mean, they came out and set the tempo really early, and they held it through. You know, it kind of got a little slow there in the third period, but once they were able to adjust to the way Cleveland was playing, they took control again, put the nails in the coffin. That's a great game to Manitoba.
You see this game as it was. Go Hawks with 3 goals. Nylander with 3 assists. Mafia a goal and 2 assists. That's pretty much what you would expect out of that line. And boy, they absolutely played their best hockey in this game tonight. Final of 4-1 in this one. And again, guys, just a very impressive game by Manitoba, able to just, control it from the first face-off. I mean, it really was their game the whole time, Ice. I incredibly impressed with how well they controlled it from start to finish.
Yeah, I mean, hands down, they came out hungry. They wanted the game. Both lines, like I said earlier in the chat, in the YouTube chat there, the lines are so good from both games that you can't really pick a winner. But once they came out of the gate, scored that early goal, that decided it.
Biggs, the way that they were playing offensively, Manitoba, I mean, what could Cleveland had done to slow them down at all, if anything?
Well, they were playing a lot around the net, so you have to challenge them down low. And T-Ball played a good defense against Mafia. He didn't give him much option, which is a good way to play. But it leaves Mafia the option of playing around the net. So you really got to challenge Mafia every chance he's on the wrong pivot or something and go in and hit him. I mean, you got to shut down their deep cycling, and that's where most of their plays come from. And you got to be very careful when you do it, because if you make a mistake, that line will exploit your errors and come out of the corner and set up a play, and the puck will most likely be in the back of the net. So you just have to be very cautious and try to, adapt to what their typical plays are and shut them down.
Ducks fan joins us now, and I'm not sure how much of the game you got a chance to see, but the Manitoba Moose really controlled this one right from the get-go, and I tell you what, this Cleveland team, as good as they've been all season long, they tried their damnedest out there, but they just did not have any command of what was going on out in the ice.
Yeah, I just got the last 10 minutes of that game, and from what my team chat's saying, because they were obviously pretty interested in watching the game, see who won, but they say that the Moose play a lot like the Reign did, just like trapping it up in the neutral zone, things like that. So it didn't work out too well for us playing against that style in the first 3 games of that series, but in the next 4 we figured it out, so the Moose better look out.
Well, you've got, from what you know of the Moose, if you're gonna give some basic comments about their game now, and you're going to be taking them on here in the Western Conference Final. What's your initial thought about these guys?
Well, seeing like they play the trap, so some dump and chase will definitely have to be used. We need to be quick on the transitions there too, just to make sure they can't set up in time. But overall, I just stick to our game plan that we've been playing the way we have in the last 8 games, and we should be fine.
And joining us now, the victorious GM of the Manitoba Moose, who I think finally can breathe now, is Vibes. And Vibes, congrats on the win tonight. Just an all-around great game by your guys.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And what do you mean breathe now? We had it all along. I had never nothing.
Fuck off.
I think you were
holding your breath the whole game.
Yeah, I think, what were you asking Biggs to help you find a building to jump off of last night or something along those lines?
Well, I can't believe you tell a fan to do that.
Yeah, well, I'm still trying to convert you, so.
No. From now on, it's the Kudas all the way. There's only one team that can stop the Kudas, and that's the Marlies.
Yeah.
Oh, like the sound of that.
Wow.
We'll see about that.
So, seriously, though, just going back to the game, though, it was, it was a clinic out there. I mean, Mafia was on top of his game. He played with GoHawks and with Nylander like they've been playing for decades together. It was just a phenomenal effort, and not just the offense, like we said, but the forechecking. Obviously, that last goal, a poke check, knocking it in, but Mafia was aggressive all game long with that. And, Cleveland, I think, did the best they could against them, but these guys they were incredible tonight.
Yeah, we were just too much for them. That's just the bottom line. That line was just too much, too offensively gifted, and too many weapons. And first and foremost, before we get into anything, I just want to first say to the Cleveland Monsters.
Oops, did we lose him there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I just want to say first and foremost to the Cleveland Monsters, congratulations on an amazing season. You guys were a ridiculously good team and damn near impossible to beat in a 7-game series. Somehow, some way we managed to do it. But, all credits to Freeze and Herms and Siege and anyone else involved with that team, because you guys were a class act and a model for all teams to follow. So congratulations to you. I just want to get that out of the way first and foremost. And then, with this game, it was a tight game. And, my boys pulled through. I'm really happy. I'm excited. I actually have to tell a story. I have to be completely honest. I take credit when it's time for me to take credit. And when it's not, I don't. And so I had Timmy Z in this lineup, and I was going to put Timmy Z in.
Right.
My entire team fought with me to put him in, to put GoHawks in, and I refused to do it. It was Mafia Man who said, for what it's worth, my connection isn't that great tonight. I think that we can maybe use a little dynamic offense up front. And I finally said, okay, fine, and I put GoHawks in. So, it was my original plan to put Timmy in. So I just want to give credit to where credit is due. So credits to, honestly, my entire team for saying it, as well as Mafia Man finally convincing me to do it. So, but it worked out.
And just, again, just an overall good team effort tonight defensively. Cleveland certainly has a lot of good talent there, and it just seemed like they could not get anything going against your defense. You guys were setting up traps. You were switching up when they switched up. I just think you guys started off well, and when they needed to adapt, they got a little better, but you guys came back even with them again and were able to figure out what you needed to do to counteract it.
Yeah, that defensive pair of Pitcher and Beal, I think they're severely underrated. And they've been really solid for us all season. I know Pitcher takes, I think most of it's just playful banter from his Xbox teammates. Some people said that I spent a little bit too much on him in preseason bidding. But I felt like he was worth it, and I felt like he was one of the best defensemen on the table. And then, we pick up Beal mid-season off waivers, actually, and they've just been a really good pair. And I think they're a severely underrated pair, and I think they proved that tonight. Listen, going up head-to-head against, a makeshift line for the Monsters, even more than their first line. I'm sure everyone would agree that this line they put out tonight was more powerful, more dominant than even their first line. And you saw firsthand what that defensive pair from my club can do.
Well, now you take on Ducks and his San Jose Barracuda. I imagine you haven't really given much thought to them just yet.
I honestly, to be honest with you, throughout the duration of the past week, while we're in the 7-game series with the Monsters, I couldn't even tell you the Barracuda existed. I haven't even thought about them since, except for when I'm doing the analytical thing. But aside from that, aside from being when it comes down to being a GM, I haven't even thought about them. But we'll turn our attention to them now. You better believe it.
Well, Ducks, you've been parts of some very successful teams in the playoffs, and you have experience there, and Vibes has certainly had his share too. Ice Block doesn't, as he mentioned earlier, he's not familiar with a lot of this territory. Harken back to the first time you made it to this far in the playoffs. What kind of feelings do you have when you're in the semifinals? What is it that you're thinking as a team? Do you feel like as you get closer, you guys are more confident, or is this, as you start hitting uncharted territory, you have to play it game by game and hope everybody keeps their confidence up?
I think our nerves are pretty much out of the way. I heard a lot of our guys saying in the first couple games of the playoffs they were pretty nervous. But after that 8-game win streak we put along in the playoffs, I don't think there's any nerves, just full of confidence on our end.
And Ice, what's been the temperature of your team since the win? What have you guys been talking about? How do they feel about getting to this point?
A lot of them. A lot of us on the team, other than Stanley, who has the trophy, this is a lot of fresh territory. For almost everybody on the roster. First round, everybody was a little nervous. First time I made playoffs, I was nervous as shit. I don't want to mess anything up. I don't want to mismatch lines. But, we got that figured out. Game 1, kind of shit down the drain. But, after that, after we beat Hartford, everybody was kind of high on their horse. And, after we kind of, I want to say rolled through Hershey, but after we kind of picked up our feet and won the next 4, everybody is pretty alive. So we'll see what happens. I'm trying to keep it calm.
The series was 4-1. You kind of did roll through Hershey.
I just don't want to be a cocky guy to him.
No, I hear you. But you did. You rolled through.
I don't think Vibes understands what that means.
Have you guys asked Ice Block yet which team he would prefer to play?
No, not yet.
I talked a little bit about it with Vibes earlier. I was on the show with Kepler and him. Personally, I would rather go up against Toronto just because I know a lot of the guys on there, kind of know their gameplay. And it would just be nice to play against friends. But at the same time, my team would like Syracuse. They want a shot at Lobo. So, you know, I want to see Toronto win, but the majority of the guys they want to face Syracuse. So.
Biggs, obviously you've gone all the way and won this thing completely, and when you have incredibly rough series, and obviously Ducks, they were on the ropes in Series 1, and they've come back. Vibes is coming off an incredibly tough series, and he's had experience doing that with the Wolves a few seasons back. How do you refocus after a really tough go to get back on the horse and get ready for the next series? How do you get the team to say, okay, put that behind us and let's move forward?
I mean, it's almost a relief. Like, the pressure is so high, your blood's boiling and it's about to pop, and then you win Game 7, and then everything calms right back down, and now your players are still hot, fresh, ready to play, but now the stress is off a little bit, I mean, the stress is still there. You're going into the next round, but you're not playing a game where if you lose, you're out. So I always liked coming out of a 7-game series going into the next round because you're more fired up than the other team, I find. Like someone coming out of a sweep or coming out of a 4-1 win is, they're sometimes taking the next series maybe too easy because they haven't really been challenged yet. And the other team's been pushed to their limits, ready to play, and has really been exploiting their own skills.
The momentum train can run very far in the playoffs, that is for sure.
Yeah, and I think for you guys, Ice and the Thunderbirds, knocking off a conference champ from last season, somebody who, obviously a lot of people thought that they were going to be the representative coming out, or at least going up against Toronto or Syracuse. Knocking off a team like that has got to be huge for your guys. That has to have made them even more confident in their possibility of getting to the Cup.
I couldn't disagree with you. Me personally, I'm stressing the hell out of it. But if they're confident, I'm gonna keep it that way. I'm gonna do my best to keep the tempo flowing. But I can tell you, me personally, I'm nervous heading into it. But I've been nervous heading into every round. So
Vibes,
we'll see what happens.
Vibes, how did this series that you just finished up with Cleveland? You had a very interesting, a hell of a series against Rockford back in Season 2. And it was incredibly competitive. How would you compare the two as far as intensity?
They're pretty similar, actually. And it's funny you brought that up because I actually had something to say. I actually wanted to dedicate this series win to the Season 2 Rockford Ice Hogs because I would have ousted you in Season 2 had you not cheated. But I guess it had to wait a little bit of time. And, what I did to the Monsters this series is what your fate was, but you had to cheat to try and get around me. This is dedicated to them.
Just as intense, or was it worse in Season 2?
Just as intense, maybe a little bit more Season 2 because I think I riled Rockford up a little bit more than I was able to rile the Monsters up. I play my shoutbox antics, and some people fall into it. The Monsters didn't fall into it as hard as Rockford did.
And you talked a lot in the last couple of days about the effort put together by Cleveland and by Freeze and Derms and Siege and T-Ball.
Yeah.
Again, as much of a fight as you would have expected from these guys?
Absolutely. And I mean, they did an amazing job as a management group. Freeze, he stayed with me the entire way in this series. He made a lot of really good moves, really smart moves, and just a class act to deal with, and a great opponent to go up against, and it was a challenge for sure. So to get past them it's a huge feat, and the Moose we've slayed the dragon.
Well, we've talked a good deal about your series and how all that worked out. Let's give you a chance to breathe away from from what you just went up against, and talk a little bit before the game comes up between Toronto and Syracuse. Let's start with you, Biggs. Again, we talked a little bit earlier about these two teams, and not to take away anything from the Crunch, but the Marlies have an incredibly talented team, and I don't know if it's because Syracuse has found ways to frustrate them, or the Marlies aren't playing up to their level. But Syracuse looked like they were not in control of Game 6, and quite a few other games looked like they were really out of control of what was going on, and yet they're still 3-3 in this series. Is there anything that Syracuse is doing differently in this one, or is this a case of Toronto having, again, another season with a ton of talent, but coming to a point where maybe they're just not focused enough?
It could come down to lack of experience for sure, but I think they have what it takes this game in this round to take it to the next level. Like you said, it definitely did look like they had that Game 6 under control, and I don't know what happened in the first 5 games before it, but I mean, just the fact that you shut down their top, Syracuse's top line is just, living proof that the Marlies have what it takes to shut down big lines, and just because they lost a few of their other games doesn't mean that. Well, at this point in Game 7, it definitely means that they have the capability to do it again. How they'll do in the next series if they do pass, that might be a question at the depth of the team. But I'm excited for this game just because of this power Marlies lineup. I mean, you got 2 defense that have crazy good records with, one of them having the highest points, or second highest points maybe, in the league. And then someone mentioned that this AHL forward lineup is pretty much an NHL lineup from Xbox, so that's scary news to me.
You talk about the lineup, and we'll quickly go over it, and I'll get your thoughts on it. First with Toronto, as you mentioned, Meaty Tendersticks, Paulie Chunks, and Mr. Don up front. Philly's MVP, Davey Donuts, back on D, and It's Watermelon. I might have thought Mello might have gone. I look, to me, it's 6-1, half a dozen of another when it comes to those two goaltenders. But I thought maybe Mello might be in there for the big game, but not overly surprised about this. Again, that defense, Phillies and Davey, and we look at this lineup just on its own, ice block, and just a ton of offense, kind of similar to what we saw with the Moose the last game. Just a lot of weapons up front, and it's if they've learned anything maybe from watching the last game is a lot of pressure and some forechecking, and the Crunch could wind up being in the same situation that Cleveland was.
I mean, it's really hard to look past that Toronto lineup. Like I made that comment earlier with Tenure not being over there, who's going to be able to stop them? You don't have Slater in that either, so that really worries me. I got to put all my eggs in the basket of Toronto. It just looks like an unbeatable line to me.
I have an inside scoop, too, about Toronto and Lobo Nazi struggling with a trap-style defense. So we'll see how that pans out tonight. But I was told they're not very good at adapting to it.
If they can pinch them down early, get them frustrated, I think Toronto will be able to walk away with it very, very easily. But I don't want those words to come back and bite me in the ass next round. So let's hope Syracuse puts up a good game.
And on the other side, and get Ducks in here to talk a little bit about this. Again, Lobo here in Game 7, Nazi and Toffoli up front. Crazy, try hard on defense, and DC Lumpy getting the start in net in this game. And Lobo has struggled a little bit in the past few games. He's lost both of them to the Marlies in these 2 games, a total of 4 points, and a -4 total for both these games. So Toronto has found a way to shut him down, and this guy certainly has a style of play. What do you if you're the Crunch, Ducks, what do you do to try and get Lobo freed up a little bit more and get him more comfortable where he is on the ice?
Well, I kind of went through a similar thing in the first round where Squid actually went 0-2 in his first 2 games. Still decided to put him in Game 7 because I knew he was going to break out, and I think Lobo's going to break out in this game too. I think he's too good not to. Him and Nazi are smart guys. They're good at or have a really high hockey sense. I think they'll be able to figure out Toronto's defense. And if they do, look out. Toronto does have a really good line put up in front of them. I'm kind of surprised the Crunch aren't using Tenure, but I'm sure there's some sort of reasoning there. Maybe he's not available or something else.
He is available.
Yeah, they said he's available. Yeah,
He was available, yes.
Okay, that's kind of mind-boggling, but
there's still a reason behind it. It's just that the reason it's brain damage.
Yeah, that might be it. But yeah, I think Lobo's going to break out here. Toffoli might be a good addition. I haven't really seen him play too much, but if Toronto plays the trap style, maybe he has the answer to it.
Meanwhile, we quickly look at the goaltending, and DC Lumpy is 1-1 in the playoffs against Toronto. Throw a 4-3 win in the last game that he played with 21 saves on 24 shots in that game. So, perhaps he's the slightly hotter hand at this point, and maybe they feel like he has a better shot against these guys. Of course, he's going up against a much different front line and defense. So, we'll see if that works out. Lumpy certainly has been around for a while, and in this season he's played well when he's gotten in there, and the more that the Crunch put him up there, the more he proved that he's still a damn good goaltender. And whether or not that's going to be enough for the Crunch tonight, but there remains to be seen. But he's certainly played well for them in the playoffs, and I guess goaltenders are a little bit interesting. I don't know about you, Vibes, but I think no matter what happens during the entire regular season, I think you have to look at what goes on in the playoffs. And if you feel like somebody's got the hotter hand, you have to go with them. Slater hasn't played bad at all, too. In his first game, a 4-0 shutout against Toronto, 13 save effort, and lost 4-2 in the next game. But again, 17 shots on goal. He's gotten plenty of work against him. So I don't know. Maybe it's a coin flip between Lumpy and Slater.
Yeah, and you do sometimes, when it comes down to these decisions, instead of thinking, you just gotta kind of have to feel, and maybe that's what this case is. Maybe he just feels a certain way, and that's what he's gonna do with. He's gonna go with the guy that he feels is best suited for the job tonight.
What do we? I think Block already gave his prediction of Toronto. Let's go around the horn and ask Biggs what he's thinking about this game.
Obvious Toronto. There's no questions about it.
No questions.
No questions. No tenor. Good lineup. Toronto's not going to lose this game.
Ducks.
Despite what I said about Lobo and him breaking out, I think the Marlies will find a way to shut him down later on in the game. I'll pick the Marlies too.
Vibes.
Let me look at the lineup here real quick. I think that I think the Marlies beat them, and I think they beat them pretty handedly. I look for maybe a shutout.
Man, it scares me to agree with all of you.
I like Vibes' prediction the best.
Shutout. Well, look, I mean, Toronto has absolutely dominated some teams in the regular season, in the playoffs. I mean, towards the end of that first round, they were absolutely handily in control of the Comets, and so we'll see if they're able to do that against the Crunch, a much different team. But hopefully, we'll be getting a stream from these guys soon, and we'll be getting this game up and running. We're hoping to get a stream from Mr. Don, as he has finally gotten that up, and so we'll flip over to that. These teams are getting ready for this game. Again, doesn't look like anything has changed with their lineup, and we'll take a closer look at that in a second. But since all you guys are pretty confident, and really I am too as well in Toronto, the only thing that really could beat them is them having overconfidence about this one. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now, Biggs. You guys had a hell of a team, and you knew it last season. How do you not get overconfident before a game like this?
You don't think about that. You show up to play your game, and it doesn't matter. You don't look at the other line and go, "Oh, they don't have Tenor in, we're gonna win." It doesn't matter if Tenor's in the game or not. You think it's Game 7. You have to play your best game. There's no questions asked. You cannot show up and play a slack game. You have to play your best, and everyone knows that, and everyone's pumping each other up, and everyone's practicing before the game, or should be. And you just go in and play your best. There's no. They shouldn't even be looking at lineups or any of that stuff. So, I mean, it doesn't. There shouldn't be an overconfidence.
Well, this game is close to getting underway. We'll hopefully be seeing the Crunch show up here shortly. The final game of this round, and it's been another interesting round, another interesting postseason so far in the AHLPSN side, and we are going to continue to cover these games next week as we get into the semifinals, and that always is a lot of fun. We of course will be hot and heavy on the Moose and the Barracuda, which that's the talent on both sides. Obviously, we're almost looking at all-star games at this point, but the talent on both sides of those teams are going to be interesting, and I think Vibes, it's getting worse and worse for you with the level of GM knowledge that you have to go up against. I have a great respect for Freeze, but Ducks, no matter where he goes, this guy's a winner.
We'll see. He's still a little wet behind the ears.
We'll see.
I'm going to break him in, too. Don't worry about it.
Oh boy, can't wait.
Vibes, how you gonna feel if that's another Game 7 series? Are you gonna be able to hold in on that?
No, I'm expecting like maybe a quadruple bypass or something if it goes 7. I don't think I'm gonna be able to hold up.
You better be in that one too. I'll put myself in.
That was
what, in a Game 7.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy,
you're out of your fucking mind.
Okay.
Vibes is crazy, but he's not out of his fucking mind, as he would say.
Okay, understandable.
I'm looking forward to that one tremendously.
Can I say something real quick?
Sure.
Please?
Sure.
I just to deviate from this for a second. I'm watching the shout box. All right. And this goes to some of my guys as well, particularly Go Hawks. Number one, Go Hawks, you're better than that, all right? I know you on a personal level, and you're not a fucking blazing asshole. You may act like it sometimes, but you're not. Number two, in the hockey world, now I understand that this is video game hockey, so not the same rules apply. But I feel like even in video game hockey, we still kind of have to carry a little bit of the hockey culture with us. When you have a series, you go at it tooth and nail, okay? You fight each other, you say whatever it is that you got to say to each other. That's all fine and good. When the series is over, you shake hands, you look each other in the eye, you wish them a good season, congratulate them on everything that they've done, and that's it. You go your separate ways. And I think that's something that needs to be adopted by everyone here, despite the fact that this is a virtual hockey gaming community. You still offer congratulations. Everybody else was in this series to win it. They lost. They're feeling disappointed right now. That's it. I don't want to start a kumbaya powwow around the fire camp, but show a little bit of respect and decency.
And that's Vibes telling you that.
Wow.
He did say yesterday that he's quite the sportsman guy when he wins games.
He's turned a new leaf. I'm proud of you, Vibes.
No, that's not a new leaf. Don't get it fucking twisted. That's just the fact that you show sportsmanship.
No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, that's watching you. I think it was after the round one that the winning team should extend that, and that's when I took it upon myself to kind of just go out and do that. Because me and Premier went at it quite a bit within the manager's chat and in the shout box. But after all was said and done and the emotions calmed down, we're past it.
Yep.
Good game.
That's the way it should be. Yep. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, it's just emotions get the best of you. But I do agree with you 100%. You need to show class.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, this could be you next round.
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing is like there's no guarantee. Yeah, sure, we won today, but maybe we lose tomorrow.
Well, this game is underway, and Syracuse had their first power play opportunity, could not connect, and now still at 0-0. We have a face-off just outside of the crunch zone. Typical Game 7, maybe a hair tight. Good quick opportunity there, but not able to connect as the puck comes out, and Toronto looking to try and get back in. I think maybe when there's a Game 7, guys, this is a really good opportunity to try and trap. You got guys who do want to just move the puck forward. I mean, and those are the kinds of guys that you can work successfully with a trap. So, again, I think you proved it a little bit in that last game, Vibes, and I think maybe we might see a little bit of that from these guys here in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's an effective way to play defense, that's for sure. And I mean, if you have a high potency offense coming at you, it's a really effective way to try and shut them down.
Mellon with a good glove save there as Syracuse on their second power play. Little flip shot in front. Crunch trying to get the puck on the net. So important in this game. Such a big part of what you need to do to be successful. And that is there. The first blow thrown by Toffoli and giving the Crunch the early lead in this one. Power play goal for Syracuse. They're up 1-0.
There goes the shutout.
And they're just trying to be opportunistic, and that's what we've seen from the Crunch a lot in this series. Not the greatest to play all the time, but opportunistic as Toronto gets an opportunity there, but a good glove save made by Lumpy halfway through the first. Definitely feel like the Crunch have been one of those teams that, they just wait for the other team to make a mistake. You've had a few of those games in your series too, Vibes, where you felt that was a strategy needed. The Crunch seemed to employ that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the thing. Like a lot of times there's one.
Another goal and a Crunch quickly up 2-0 in this one.
It's starting to look like we're all wrong.
And Nazi with the goal, Lobo with the assist on that one. I was going to try and be different, but Toronto going to take another penalty now.
Can you guys hear me? I think I'm lagging. Yeah, no, I picked the Crunch in this game. Did you guys get that? Sorry, I think I might have just caught up to you.
That's a hell of a lag. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching this game and listening to us. TSibs, Vibes, Biggie, Ducks, I think we lost Ice Block somewhere along the way. Or is he there? And there's the opportunity. Finally, a good scoring opportunity for Toronto, and they're able to connect. And are still on this power play. Syracuse, good shorthanded goal by Toronto. Now we'll see if momentum swings the other way. Toffoli back out to the point. Toffoli working well behind the net. Gets it out front, but nothing there for him. Cleared all the way down by Mistadon and wrapping it right back around the boards on the crunch. Good intercept there. The crunch again to Foley, trying to find someone in front. He had an opportunity there for Lobo, but he couldn't get a shot off.
Marlies are starting to get it together. I think early on it looked like the forwards of the crunch were able to move their D a lot, and they're not able to move their D as much as they were early on. But let's see what happens.
Good opportunity, shot after one after the other, and really the crunch have been in great control offensively. Now a good opportunity there, trying to get a pass out to Mistadon, but it just doesn't connect as the final seconds tick down in the first period. And Syracuse, certainly some really good offensive opportunities, able to push themselves out to a 2-0 lead. Toronto coming back with a quick one here. Syracuse 8 shots on goal so far in the crunch offense. What's the answer to defending this one, Biggs? What are you seeing that Toronto needs to do?
They need to not let Syracuse step up in the middle like they have been. If you shut that down, I don't know. They seem to be strong players at walking towards the net. As long as you don't let them do that, I don't know what they'll throw at them, and maybe trap a little more. We haven't really seen Toronto trap Syracuse that much yet, I don't think.
Second period underway, and the crunch starting back out again. Haven't really seen this Toronto offense do an awful lot yet. And another offside, as you saw at least 4 players lining up around the blue line, stopping the pass there. We saw Cleveland start to have a little bit of success against your team, Vibes, when they finally realized by the third period that they needed to start dumping it in. They were able to open up the ice a little bit more, and kind of feel like Toronto needs to do that too.
Yeah, you get the puck in past the defenders, and you make them play the puck, which pulls them out of position, obviously, and sometimes it can open up the ice a little bit. You get that forechecker in, get the puck back, and see what you can do.
I'm a strong disbeliever in dumping the puck.
Really?
Yep. Very strong disbeliever in it.
That's funny. I actually would think that he would be for it.
The 2 plays I use against the trap, and bear with me because they're probably not easy to understand based off vocals, but one is just the defense carries the puck in. The forwards are pushing all the trap players back, and the defense comes in with momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have strong carrying defense, the alternative play, which also runs from the defense, is the forwards push it up, once again push the line back, and you have to hit a pass. So you kind of force the puck to one side of the blue line, and then you hit a D-man on the opposite side of the blue line against one defender over on that side of the trap with momentum once again.
I actually do know exactly what you mean. That's the 2 ways. 3 ways is changing the trajectory of the play, and then there is the dump, and then also I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the overlap play, but you could also run an overlap in order to break the trap.
I'm personally not familiar with it, to be honest.
Maybe I'll hang on to that one for you.
We may need some Vibes teaching sessions next season. Maybe that's a video you should work on.
Maybe when we work with the, maybe we'll get the practice mode, and I can, we'll have a coach's corner with vibes.
That'd be nice. It'd be nice just to get the practice mode, that one that's actually useful.
It would be, but I guarantee you they don't do it.
Halfway through this game now, Syracuse still up 2-1, seeing some similar pattern of the last Game 7 where things come out riling, and then second period they settle down a little bit. It's been a little bit apprehensive, a little bit cautious, but now Toronto trying to come back out and start something. Meaty with the puck, trying to get something out front. Good defensive play. Puck is loose out in the slot, and that one just slides by DC Lumpy. And it may have been deflected by a defenseman, but another one of those goals where a good poke check and some defensive pressure puts a puck behind DC Lumpy and net for the Crunch, and this game is tied up at 2. Now the Crunch showing their offensive strength again. Lobo gets it knocked off his stick by Mistadon, who starts back in with it. Offside will be the call as Paulie was across the line a little too soon. Now Toronto coming back in. Defense really standing them up at the blue line right now, and they start back out. Good block there by Davey Donuts on defense as he controls the puck. Just poke checking, standing up at the line. Swarming the puck, the Crunch, and Toronto not able to do anything with that. Now Toronto starts back out. We're under a minute left to go in the second period. Lobo gets it out. Cross trying to, I thought he was going to cross ice that one, but got a shot on net. Now Lobo gets it out in front. Puck is tipped off the stick by Phillies. Good defensive play to end this period. And these two teams have been tied back and forth this whole series, including games now 2-2. Comes down to one, maybe overtime. Crunch offense, guys, just not as aggressive as they were in the first period, and certainly playing good enough defense. Toronto catching a break on that second goal.
Yeah, they started out really, really strong, and they kind of tapered off here as the game's gone on.
Third period starting here. And we'll see, again, third period tied game, how loose any of these guys are going to be as Toronto looking to get it in the zone. Don gets a good pass off and a nice shot there by Meaty Tender, but not able to get it past DC Lumpy. Good glove save. Toronto again. Offside, needing to come back, and good check by Toffoli. And now a check right back by Nazi. I'm sorry, by Paulie. Pass in front, good shot. But Lumpy will hold on to it.
Over 3 minutes have passed. Third period. The red light has flashed 4 times to a side. Pittsburgh's got a face-off win. Right on his stick. Can he get it out?
Not able to get it out. Crunch struggling here. Now finally do get it out. Coming back the other way. Pass attempt in front, but broken up, and now coming the other way. Mistadon could have a 2-on-1. Good defense coming back on that one. It looked like it was actually partially blocked by Lobo on that shot. Toronto keeping it in. Now pass is knocked off, and back the other way, Syracuse. Pass in front is broken up, and Lobo not able to get it. Now back the other way comes Meaty. Not able to get off his stick. Another good defensive play. We've been seeing them back and forth. This could be an icing. Will not be. Now Meady on the left side tries to get it in front. That's broken up and flipped out of the zone. Toffoli trying to control it, but he can't. Good play by Davy Donuts. And now up front, pass to Paulie. He has a break, partial break. Cannot get the shot off. Now puck is in front, loose in the crease and knocked out and cleared. Halfway through this third, still tied at 2.
Am I the only one that forgets that I'm on a podcast, like, calling a game when Sibs is doing this? Because, sometimes I just end up watching the game, and I feel like I'm watching a real game or something.
Good save by Watermelon there, and a face-off to the left with 9 left to go. It's been one of those games where you just have to watch.
Yeah, especially with you calling it.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Pretty relaxing, I'll say.
8 minutes now, and the Crunch trying to attack here. Lobo in the corner. He gets knocked hard. Couple of players, including Phillies, now back the other way. Comes Paulie. Shot is blocked and cleared out again. This is an icing. 6:36 left to go in the third. Face off deep in the Syracuse zone. Gets it back for a good shot, but blocked.
Crunch time,
crazy.
Boys.
Yep.
And that's not a pun.
Can he get it back to Davey for another slapper? Not yet. Nope, it's blocked off, and now the Crunch back the other way. Couple of good hits at the red line, now dumped in. Phillies. Pass intercepted, now a partial break, 2-on-1. Davey getting back there, able to cover up a little bit. Still a shot from the point, and so back now behind the net, Lobo. Quick wraparound by Lobo, dangles, and he has put the Syracuse Crunch ahead now, 3-2.
That's the play that there's a few Marlies players that told me about that play, and that's the one they said that they absolutely knew how to stop. Guess what? You were wrong.
I don't know. I think that's kind of a cheeseball play, the fact that both D-men were there and he still somehow gets away with it.
Yeah.
But
that's the one, though.
Getting down to 2 minutes now, and Toronto trying hard, keeping that puck in there, looking for opportunities. Paulie tries to get out front with it. Mista has it. Flips one on net. Open, halfway open net, but not able to be picked up by Paulie on the rebound. Under a minute left to go now, and Toronto coming back the other way. Here comes Paulie on a partial break. Lumpy diving out. And now, again, shot on net by Phillies. Good glove save, and a timeout being called by Toronto. 41 seconds left to go.
How did that puck stay out?
I don't know why it took them 2.5 periods to finally realize that they need to start shooting on net.
Well, hey, look, we've talked about that over and over last couple of nights, right, guys? I mean, again, what is it? What's the old Gretzky line? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and that's a huge part of this game. You've got to take shots, and for some reason, this doesn't sink home with some teams.
Yep.
Shot. Good save by Lumpy. Positioned well for that one as Paulie got one off in traffic. 36.3. Face-off won by the Crunch, and they cannot get it out. Davey kept it in. Now behind the net. Puck out in front. Dangerous play, but Lumpy able to cover it up. 26.6, and looks like Toronto wants a timeout, or Syracuse, at least at this point, might want a timeout. Didn't see who called the last one. Look at that. 13 shots on goal, both teams. With all the action, guys, I would have thought we'd see more shots, but 13 each. That's it.
Yeah.
Look at all the 13s in those stats. That's code that Biggs is right.
Well, we're going to give you the end of this one. 26.6 left to go in the third period. The Crunch controlling, and they're able to clear it out. Will it be icing? No icing. Maybe the last call here. Mista tries to get it in front. It's broken up. Puck trying to get cleared all the way down the ice. Cannot do that. They've pulled the goaltender. They've got an open net now, and with a few seconds left to go, it's Lobo Dangles there to slam a simple one home. And with 2 seconds left to go, Syracuse is going to move on and beat Toronto 4-2 in this one. What an effort by the Crunch to keep control of this game and play some damn good defense. And DC Lumpy looks like it was the right call to put him in net tonight.
Yeah, and, good for Lobo.
He struggled in his 2 games against Toronto this series, but a couple of goals. I think he at least had 2 goals and an assist in this one, and played good defense. He was coming back and helping out on D. And there's that wrap that was incredibly quick to give them the 3-2 lead. Guys,
I've never seen I've never seen a guy at the top of the scoring charts every single season in, season out, get as much shit as he does. So good for him that he was able to. He put 2 in this game, so good for him.
Who put 2 in?
I believe Lobo did.
He scored the empty net goal, so I mean.
Well, a goal's
sure.
a goal, dude.
Yeah, that's why he's got 120-something points. A goal's a goal. That's all right.
I sense that you're not a fan.
No, I'm not a fan. I don't know too much about him. I can't really trash talk him, but I just think, the Crunch damned all the East. Now there's no one that's going to be able to challenge the Kudas now.
Sounds of that.
He is going to take this one. He is going to take you to the end here. Biggs wants you to get knocked out. You know that, right, Vibes?
Vibes, I don't necessarily want you to get knocked out. I just do believe in my division. That's all it is. And let me tell you that even if you somehow get past the Kudas, I'm rooting for you because West is best.
West Coast.
There's no East team that's going to beat the West in this run to the Calder Cup. There's no chance in hell.
Wow. No, quote him on that one. No chance in hell.
I'm glad you believe in your division. You should believe in your division. Just want to point out the fact that there is a religion called Scientology, and those people believe that somebody flew here on a spaceship like 14 million years ago named Zeno from a planet X or whatever the hell it is, and they believe in that. So, it's all right that you believe in your division.
Wow. Well, either way you look at it, it's going to come down to now 4 teams, and a couple of good series to finish up here on a Thursday night, where the Monsters go down to defeat to the Manitoba Moose, and the Moose move on in this series. Meanwhile, the Crunch looking like maybe they were not going to be the team who was going to move forward. Toronto seemingly with too many tools, but they are the ones who move on. And as you see, it's Springfield and Syracuse who are going to face off in the East. I'm not sure. We'll talk about that series in a minute. And then, of course, the Moose and the Barracuda. And let's talk about the East quickly here. We don't want to take too much more time here, but let's talk about the East and about the matchup there. First of all, as good as these teams are, I'm not sure that anyone could have anticipated that was going to be the case, that these were the teams that were going to show up in this one. Is anybody, I was going to say, is anybody surprised? I think I'm somewhat surprised. Is anybody feeling like this could have happened, or were we all thinking it was going to be Hershey in Toronto?
I thought it was Hershey 100%. I won't even sugarcoat it or backpedal or anything, but I gave nobody coming out of that division a chance in hell. And I was wrong.
Yeah, I was a Hershey fan too. And to be honest, I didn't pick Toronto over Syracuse at any point. I didn't even vote for this round, but I mean, Syracuse obviously did what they had to do and maybe got a few lucky bounces, but I mean, you gotta work hard to get those bounces. So, and they came out on top.
I'm a little surprised about Springfield. I think everyone is, obviously, but I kind of had a feeling the Crunch would make it. I mean, they made it to the final, or the Eastern Finals last season, and a lot of the same returning players. I thought they had a good chance, but I thought the Marlies were going to be there at the end of the day. But
hang on, rewind just real quick there. You said you were a little surprised that the T-Birds were able to pull that? Just a little bit?
Surprised. Very,
All right,
very surprised.
Okay. Now I believe you.
So, Dux, let me ask you this question. You're on the Charlotte team that did some damage last season, and I believe you have quite a few players on your squad from that team. Is that correct?
Yeah, 5. Like, whole line, basically, from Charlotte.
And they certainly knew what it meant to have some success and to understand what that felt like. Are these same guys eager to show and to prove that they belong in the finals?
Yeah, absolutely. The Killer and Loki both are guys I got from NHL. Actually, they're both guys who wanted to play in the NHL this season, but I kind of lured them in, gave them a dream of the Cup, and they're all in at this point. They're very, very excited to get started here.
What do you? Let's let's get it out in the open here. What are you planning on for the Moose, or at least what's the what's the very high level outline of what you think you might do with these guys?
I think we're going to beat them first and foremost, but I don't know. I'll have to take a look at the tape more, see how they play, see what we can do against them. Take a look at each of their lines, see what the weaknesses are. But I'm sure I'll come up with a formula to beat out the good old Vibes.
Vibes, what do you do to prep for a series like this? Like, what's some of the basic stuff you do without giving away strategy?
Well, first and foremost, he sold these guys a dream, so call me the dream shatterer.
Oh, boy.
That's the first thing I do. Is
here comes the shit-talking already.
Their hopes, I crush them in the palm of my hand is what I do.
All right.
I don't know what Squid's going to say about that.
To prepare for this Barracuda team, what do? I don't know yet, because you know what? The truth is, I don't know what I'm going to do 5 minutes from now, so can't really give you an answer.
All right.
It's funny that you talk as the dream shatterer, but you're not in the game sevens, and your team seems to be picking your lineups now. So,
oh boy,
what role do you really play for the Moose now?
I was waiting for this to happen.
How'd you guys do this round?
I was waiting for Biggs to say, "Look, what have you really?" I was waiting for somebody to say it. I wasn't going to say it, but Biggs, the middle of the road guy here. What does the Barracuda need to do? What's in a nutshell? What couple of keys do you think they need to do after watching the Moose now in this playoff run? What do they need to concentrate on?
I would say if the Barracuda can shut down the Moose offensively, they will not have any struggles putting up numbers against the Moose. And I'll say that I think the Moose versus the Barracuda, what they have to do is make sure that they put numbers up on the board, because I think the game that Barracudas want to play against the Moose is low score and have, the 3-1 games, where I think if they're going to be playing against the Moose the way the Moose wants to play, it's going to be high scoring games.
Any last thoughts? I'm gonna give Dux an opportunity to have a last comment here on what he's seen so far in the playoffs and what he's anticipating coming up.
Yeah, so throughout the playoffs, I mean, you see most of the same style of gameplay being played. Lots of trap style. I think that's going to continue to be played. But I like how there's been a ton of surprises. Like personally, I picked the Hartford Wolfpack over the Springfield Thunderbirds to see them come all the way to the Eastern Finals. That's pretty crazy to me. But yeah, overall. Very obviously I'm still in the playoffs, so very excited to keep moving forward here, and I guess I'll see what happens in the next round here.
Vibes as usual on every show that I do with you. I'm letting you have the last word.
What about Biggie? I thought he was good. You got something to say?
Well,
Is he done?
Biggie just gave his opinion on these on what you guys need to do.
Okay. Final thoughts. 75.4% of the community voted that the Monsters would win. That means less than 25% of the people gave us a shot. Many people picked the Monsters in 4 or 5 games. That's a lot of wrong people.
It's a lot of idiots.
I had, I did say in the show Manitoba, and then I switched at the last second.
You did. You jumped ship, though.
I jumped ship.
It's all right. I don't hate you for it. It's okay.
Well, now I'm going to go out and get myself a Manitoba Moose hat tomorrow, and I am on the Moose. I'm on the Moose train somewhat. Oh shit, Ducks is here. I shouldn't say that.
Ducks, what's your lineup for game 1, Ducks?
Here we go.
I don't know. We have the home ice, so I'll have to see what you put out first.
Well, you got to wait to see what we put out. Okay. You just want to see what team's going to beat you. All right.
I don't know about that.
Okay, I do.
All right, guys.
All right, I guess we'll see.
Listen, thanks again, Biggie. Thanks for coming on and helping out tonight. Appreciate your insight on this, and hopefully we get you back next week for the semifinals.
Wait. One thing. Community, please vote Barracuda in the semis, all right? Make sure you vote Barracuda. I know I will be. Make sure you do as well.
You sure they're not too busy trying to vote to decide whether or not Mikey D should stay in the league? I feel like a lot of people are really.
Listen. I told him the other day. I said, "Listen, Mikey, think you're a good guy. Look, he has his things about him, but I don't want to see the guy go. I like Mikey. He's a good person.
He just likes to cause trouble in the shop box. But we'll leave it at that.
A little bit.
A little bit. All right, guys. Again, thanks. I appreciate you hanging out with us tonight, and best of luck to everybody. Vibes, congrats on the win tonight.
Thanks, bud.
That's it for us. We are packing it in for the evening. We'll be back tomorrow night to do a show. I'm getting tired. This is too much. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching us on the AHLPSN Season 5 playoffs on LeagueGaming.com and the YouTube channel. TSibs saying so long, and we will talk to you tomorrow night.